Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Atrocious. You can also call me Jake, and today we're taking a look at the first tournament of EB01 Japan Nationals. I'm so excited for this tournament. Now, we've talked about EB01 on the channel. If you haven't seen that video, go check out the iCard. I am so excited for this tournament. There are so many cool new EB01 cards coming into these decks, into these previously established archetypes, as well as some new decks as well. So I'm excited to see where this goes. Now, here is the look at the top 32 of the tournament. We've got 11 Sakazukis. This shouldn't really be a surprise to too many people because Sakazuki, after EB01 first got revealed and started coming out in Japan, a lot of people were saying that Sakazuki was the best deck in format right now. So 11 of them in the top 32. You got 7 Katakuris, which may surprise a lot of people. Yellow kind of keeping maybe some Sakazuki work in check. Sakazuki more than a Nell. I think that was the last tournament that we did here on the channel where it was that same exact thing where more Katakuris were there than Nels, or at least Katakuri had a better rate getting through the tournament through the top cut bracket than Anel did. You've got 4 Yamatos, 2 Utas. Uta is really cool in my opinion. Ever since the starter deck 11 came out in English, I have loved, like many other people, I have loved playing Uta. I think it's a fun, cool new deck coming around, and especially with EB01, that Sanji that came in, if you heard us talking about it in one of our EB01 videos, is a very cool card that we could see in this archetype. In one of each the rest of the way, you got Moria, Nami, one of my personal favorites, a Nell, Reiju, and a Zoro. Now, before we get into this video, just want to let you all know I do not own the rights to this stream. This is not my gameplay. This is actually the official stream. If you want to watch the official stream, you can check out the description below where I'll have a link to it. And so making our way into the first game, it's going to be Nami and Katakuri. Honestly, one of the 2 most hated decks, I feel like, in the One Piece trading card game. People hate yellow, people hate the casino, but if you hate casino, guess what? Nami is also kind of casino sometimes. Nami, a deck that a lot of people hate, but personally it's one of my favorites, so I'm excited to see how this one goes, especially what are some of the changes that have gone on with EB01 potentially. I saw the hand of the Nami looked interesting, and for the Katakuri, we have 2 puddings, a Capone, a Perosphero, and a new card, I believe, in this list. Wait a minute, who is this guy? Denjiro, an OP06 card. Not something I don't think I've ever seen in these tournaments, so very interesting in here. You got a Love Mellow right there. You got the White Snake, the really good new card for Nami and OP06, Impel Down All-Stars, Sanji's Peel Off, and a Gavel comboing well with the Impel Down All-Stars, and some draw with the Love Mellow Peel Off and such. So not a bad hand, I feel like, for either player in this starting out. It looks like Katakuri, I think, is going first in this match, unless they haven't done the thing. Man, this Nami player really looking dapper, really just ready to go on, and it looks like the Katakuri player is going to be going first, so I'd imagine that Nami won the rock paper scissors portion in the startup, and so going first, Katakuri plays that pudding, looking at the top 4, looking for a Big Mom and or a Sanji, and I can't tell what they got there. It looks like a Perosphero. Not bad to get, especially with this hand. You get a lot of like next turn and more pressure going, so could be nice to see. The Nami player top tacking a Das Bones right here is just gonna pass, something typical we see a lot from Nami. And so going into now the 3-Dawn turn for the Katakuri, let's see what they top decked. Another Beijing, so another 2K. You don't necessarily mind seeing that. You could swing 5 at the Nami right here, or what I would probably recommend is going ahead and playing down that Perosphero. Don't even need to swing Truthfully, if you do swing though, you should attach all 3 to the Nami and swing for 9, but it looks like it's going to be a great snake right there, using that Nami, drawing the card. Now for that card, you do get a 1000 power boost for the rest of the turn, I believe. Yeah, just for the turn. So going to use Sanji's Pilaf to draw 2 cards there after top decking what I assume was Rubber Band. Got another level of Mellow and an Apis is something that I've seen on and off in these Nami lists. A pretty good 2k counter, and then if all else fails, you can filter your hand a little bit through its on play effect. And so now into the Katakuri's turn, only 1 Dawn up for the Nami. Now the Katakuri is putting the Nami in an interesting position right now because of this 7 swing. You can either take the life, commit the Dawn, but with 3 life left, you're risking a pudding swing. So using the gavel to discard Impel Down All-Stars, going to be discarding another 2 gavels. So gavels hitting the bin like crazy. And so now what you threaten is 2 5k swings from Katakuri and pudding. There's also the potential that a Parosphero could come down, the other one in the hand, but in here right now, the Katakuri is swinging for 5. You either discard the Das Bones or the Apis, and this decision might be a little bit easier except for the fact that you just discarded 2 gavels off of the gavel. So like a gavel is a huge part with Das Bones, and so since you've already discarded 3 out of the potential 4 of them, what do you want to do off of this? And so they're going to take this life, use the Desert Spada, draw 2, trash 1. So this could be a little bit hand filter, getting a Kaya and Apis. So 2 2k counters. If the Katakuri player decides to swing 5 with the pudding, you could counter out of it real quick with an Apis. I think that wouldn't be an awful idea, but honestly, especially because they just drew some cards, I would, as the Katakuri player, probably just play down that Parosphero. So that's exactly what they're going to do, saying, you know what, I'm just going to fill the board a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit of time. I got a life this turn, and we'll see what happens. So top decking a Rubber Band. They could do some momentum, with the Kaya now on their 6 Dawn turn, and it looks like they are going to play that Kaya, one of the future tournament pack arts that we will get here soon, drawing the White Snake and also a Das Bones. So White Snake, something that's very, very good in this list. This is kind of a tough discard, to be honest, if you're me, because the Apis are so nice as a 2k counter, but the Rubber Bands are such a good card too, but you don't want to get rid of the Das Bones though, because the Das Bones is really, really good in getting these 1-cost events that you've already put away in the bin. You've already put, I think, 4 of them now at this point in total, discarding the Rubber Band and the Apis on that Kaya. And so using Das Bones to grab either Rubber Band or gavel. It might be a gavel, so then they can use Love Mellow as well as a response, and that's what they're going to put in their hand. This hand could be telegraphed one of 2 ways. One, they could use a White Snake and then Love Mellow. They could also, actually White Snake is probably really, really good because that makes you a 6k body for the rest of the turn. So I bet 2 Dawn is committed for that alone, and then that also fixes up your Rubber Band and gavel math. But they are going to play 1 more right here, going to be grabbing another gavel, and so now with 2 gavels, a Rubber Band, and a White Snake in the hand, only 3 Dawn left. So I think definitely at this point you really have to consider, and this is one of the interesting things in this matchup, a lot of times with your leader you want to try to swing, get cards out of the hand, try to take characters off the board, but the Parosphero is a double-edged sword because Yes, you would be trying to get rid of a body, which they tried to, although it was countered by the Nami. But if that on KO effect of the Paros Pharaoh gets a Big Mom Pirate, a Charlotte Linlin, for example, 10 drop, that spells very bad for your game. So just going to be a little bit of 5 poke damage right here. All 7 Dawn still up, and they're immediately going to play the White Snake. So drawing a card off of this, going to get 1,000 power for the turn. It's going to be a buggy, so definitely running more of the Impel Down package as well. The White Snake, a very, very good card. This is my first time actually seeing the White Snake in action, so pretty interesting and makes a lot of sense why you would kind of play it like immediately first turn. The Katakuri player is going to play down that pudding, looking at the top 4, finding a Nekomamushi, a Nami. Did they even find a Big Mom Pirate in this hand? They did, and it looks like it's going to be the Big Mom. I think that's the 7-drop championship art. So the 7-drop championship art is going to be beneficial, but I think you would rather find the 10-drop in this one. And so the rest of your Dawn here, Nami being a 6k body at this point, you got to think about how much you actually want to swing here. So going to be swinging 7 in total, going to be showing the top life of Nami. It's going to be a Deathwink. So Deathwink is going to, if they decide to use its trigger, bounce back a 7 cost or less. And so putting that at the bottom there, trying to manipulate when their Big Mom hits important cards in the life. And so all the Nami player has to do right now, if they want to defend this, is just use a rubber band, because that would get them to 8 overall. I think that's kind of what they're leaning towards at this point right now, but there is potential for one more Paros Pharaoh and then also a pudding to potentially swing in this turn. But I think there's a pretty decent chance after this rubber band is being played to go up to 8. Oh, ditches a Kaya. Definitely don't like seeing that. It is it's possible that another character is going to come down and no more swinging is going to happen. But just as I say that, an 8,000 power swing comes into the Nami here. So with no more Dawn, this is going to be a little bit more difficult, but you could do an Apis and a Buggy, but they're going to opt for the life and hit a Sanji's Pilaf. So the first 2 life, a Pilaf and a Spada, and then a Deathwink we also know is at the bottom of that life. So very, very strong start to the life. We get a Hiyori coming down here, switching essentially a card in their life, not opting to put a card back into the hand. I didn't realize you could do that with the new Hiyori coming out in OP06. Interesting. It does say put up to 1 card from your hand on the top of your life stack. So with this matchup, it doesn't make sense to put a card back. It's just like wasted cards essentially, because Nami is almost never going to hit your life unless there's a Zeph situation going on, which we have yet to see a Zeph actually in this list. And I know it's still relatively early in this deck. And so a lot of cards in this Nami's hand, a lot of Gavels too in this hand. I'm interested to see how they kind of balance out of this. They do have a Gavel that can pair with an Impel Down All-Stars, which is really, really nice. But the other card, what is the other card you discard? Is it a Buggy? Or maybe is Buggy a little bit too valuable because Buggy can't technically get a card out of your deck? We haven't seen too many Impel Down cards. I haven't seen a single Brick Fist either. Brick Fist is a card that I usually like running, but it could be something that is not necessarily played in the new iterations with the White Snake. But just as I say, you know, the importance of Buggy, here it goes, grabbing a couple cards. We see a couple Das Bones in there, so definitely going to be grabbing a Das Bones. There's also a Gavel in there, another Buggy, and a Kaya. So the big thing about Nami is because you will try to hit the bottom of your deck, you kind of have to think a little bit about the order of cards that you put at the bottom of your deck. So thinking about what they want to do, and it looks like they're going to put that down there. The Das Bones is going to be here and potentially come down as well, but it's going to be the op piece on the on play effect that I mentioned earlier. Going to trash 2 cards, the Impel Down All-Stars and the Desert Spada. They're going to look at the top 5 and find an East Blue card. That East Blue card, I believe, was Sanji's Pilaf, and so here's a little bit more thinking. There's a Brick Fist that I had mentioned earlier. I was curious if they were going to play it. Now we see, I'm curious to know if they'll play the Sanji's Pilaf this turn. The reason for that is they're really starting to build a board overall. They've got a couple different Peros Pharaohs that you're probably not knocking out. They've got some puddings that with some Dawn they'll be able to swing with, and since you have, I think they are at 8 Dawn, so they're at 6 left. Going to be resting the 3 for a Pilaf and draw a couple more cards. Let's see, it was an Impel Down All-Stars and a Pilaf. Impel Down All-Stars, although a lot of people might not like drawing it, is going to be good. Again, like I mentioned, for that gavel. So swinging 5 with the leader, not a lot of counter power in this hand in terms of just a lot of cards in general. The Denjiro does not have counter on it, so they either need to feed the Nekomamushi or give up a 2K, and you definitely, I don't know if you want to give up a 2K overall at this point. So going to be giving up the Nekomamushi and passing it off. 3 Dawn left. We'll see exactly how this goes now at the 9 Dawn turn for the Katakuri. We could see the Charlotte Linlin, and one thing that was drawn at that top deck was the impact. The impact can be very, very good because it is a free deal 1 damage when your opponent has 1 life left. It may still hit a trigger, but they can't counter out of it. So very, very impactful card, pun intended, in this matchup. And they're going to start off swinging 5. And so they're going to start off by playing the 1 Desert Spada, kind of looking at their top 3 right now, seeing if it's valuable to keep on top. I'd imagine that they'll keep this on top. They're going to go Impel Down All-Stars, Apis, and White Snake. And so I'd imagine that they'll play Gavel this turn, pushing away the White Snake, or I'm sorry, pushing away the Impel Down All-Stars and the Apis, because those cards are fine essentially not being seen in this one. 5 characters now for the Nami on the field as well. I don't think they're halfway through their deck yet, but as you all may be aware, in Nami, when they leave several Dawn open, it can get a little scary. So the Katakuri player swinging a little low, going to be discarding that Gavel and Impel Down All-Stars to trash another All-Stars and a Apis. So with only 1 Dawn left, if they decide to stop another swing, it is going to discard your Great Snake, or White Snake, I'm sorry. The White Snake, very, very good in Nami, and is what made it a better deck heading into OP06 and EB01. So starting off swinging 5 with the pudding. So you've got a couple options here. What you could do is you could either take this life, or you could get rid of the Das Bones. The Das Bones does have a 1K counter on it that would get you to stop another life, and that's exactly what they're going to do here. So with how much Dawn do they have left? 6 Dawn? I think they only have 6 Dawn? Going to be swinging 7 with the Katakuri, I would imagine, looking at this Brick Fist right here. So triggers have been Spada, Pilaf, Deathwink, and Brick Fist. Very, very good triggers for this Nami. 4 out of the 5. The new top of the life is the only one that we don't know. So this 7K right here could, and it looks like they're going to take it. It's going to be another Brick Fist. Oh my goodness, this life is insane for the Nami player. You absolutely love this life. Is very, very good. And so now you're trying to think as the as the Katakuri player, you know exactly what the life cards are now for the Nami the rest of this game. So thinking about what exactly is the best to do, it looks like they're going to rest potentially all of them and play over this pudding and put down this Denjiro. So Denjiro, if you do not know, Dawn times 2 if your opponent's life is at 3 or less. It cannot be KO'd by effects. So not something to necessarily worry about against Nami, but for plenty of other matchups, this Wano Country Akazaya 9 card could be beneficial as a 1 or 2 of. So top decking that White Snake like we knew would happen. They're going to start off by playing the Pilaf. So Sanji's Pilaf drawing 2 cards in here. Going to be a Love Mellow and a Rubber Band. They're seeing the Love Mellows like crazy at this point, and they're going to play the Kaya. 4 Dawn down, 6 left in this one. Going to be drawing 2 cards, Kaya and Deathwing. So this will be an interesting one on what they decide. They do have to discard 2 cards. The Deathwing, you like the Deathwing, right? But also you have a lot of cards in hand. So what exactly can get you closer to your actual win condition? So you don't see any huge bodies on the field. So it looks like they're actually going to trash the Deathwing and the Rubber Band and play 1 more for this Kaya. So going to 5 left, playing over that Das Bones. Going to be drawing 2 cards. It's going to be Spada and Apis. It wouldn't surprise me if it was those 2 cards specifically. You would have, what, 5 Dawn left, like I said. So one of the things that could happen too, I didn't see how quickly were they, how much deck did they have left? This will be a good way to see. Let's put this in slow motion. All right, so it's gonna be about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They have 10 cards left. Are you kidding me? Only 10 cards left. It does not feel like it has been that short of a round here. So advantage is looking pretty good in Nami, I would say, at this point. So they're trying to see about, before they discard all of these cards, how aggressive they want to be in terms of trashing these events. So thinking about trashing a Love Mellow and a Spada right here. They're thinking that the Apis is either a Gum Gavel card that will be discarded off of it, or a really good 2K counter. So thinking if this is it, I would imagine that this will be the end of the turn at this point. I don't think they'll go any farther than this, and we may say just like a 5K swing at the Parosphero. What is tough about the Nami though at this point is once they run out of, Dawn, they're going to run out of Dawn, and with that impact there, that impact is going to be tough for them. But if the Katakuri player doesn't see the 10-drop Big Mom on this top deck, it could be very decent for Nami, because that's 1 less card that doesn't just get trashed immediately. So this top deck here, what is it going to be? It's a Flampe. Okay, one of the new EB01 cards, not going to be as impactful in this end game for the Nami and Katakuri. And so Katakuri has to decide what they want to do. You could maybe go a little bit, do you go a little bit passive here? I'm not sure. But going to start off by swinging the 7,000 power Denjiro swing, committing 1 Dawn. So as Nami, you let out a sigh of relief that it's not the 10-drop Linlin. But looking around in their hand, how they want to do this. They could commit the Gavel, right? They could also do the White Snake. The White Snake would get them out of the turn. No, it wouldn't get them out of the turn, actually, because it only gives you the plus 1,000 power and drawing a card. So ditching the Apis to trash that, and it's going to be a 2 cost and a Rubber Band that hit the bin. About 8 cards left at this point. And the great thing about that 7 and this 7 right here is, oh my goodness, looking at that Deathwing, putting that Deathwing at the bottom. One thing that's great about these 7s is that the White Snake is not going to be it. I think at this point you don't want to swing a 5. And so with 8 Dawn left, you can see some of the other Pharaohs getting Dawn and attacking. So Love Mellow is going to draw a Kaya. That's going to be really good for your end game to be able to try to chain the end, because we know that that card at the top of the life is a Brick Fist. The Brick Fist is going to be great at getting back a Kaya, and so is the Deathwink. Going to be very, very good. The Katakuri player not having any ability to discard cards, and so it looks like they're going to do this 5 right here. And it's interesting to do this 5 because with 8 Dawn left, right, if you decide to let this, or you use the White Snake, let's say for example, you are going to run out of Dawn, so they are just going to swing as wide as possible. You only have 3 cards in your hand. The Hiyori might even swing. They have so much Dawn left. They could actually go with, if they allow this to go through, they could go 3 to the Pudding and swing, and then 5 to the Hiyori and swing. I don't know if that would be the best idea for the Katakuri, but it's something that you're probably afraid of as the Nami overall. But it might actually be more Dawn efficient to use impact if they take this life right here instead of attaching 5 to the Hiyori, because that would save you 1 Dawn. They are going to use that White Snake, so we'll see how this plays out. It's going to be a Gavel. Gavel not going to help you now that you're out of Dawn, but what could help you now with about 6 or 7 cards in deck, I can't remember, it's hard to tell. Again, if you swing wide right here, they only have 3 cards in hand. How many of them actually have counter on it, right? But you know that the last 2 life cards are Brick Fist and Deathwing. So here's another really, really interesting interaction that the Katakuri has to think about. If you do swing and hit the life, one of these characters is going to go back. So I don't think there's a way that you win this turn per se, but you do get yourself a little bit closer. And so swinging the 7 with the Pharaoh, they are going to take it. It's going to be a trigger. I think only with 6 Dawn left, right? You only have 6 Dawn left. So even if you're afraid of the impact, right, you can go ahead, grab this Kaya. They're not going to, again, be able to hit for game at this turn. So now with 2 Kayas left, that's going to be 4 cards. And so the Gavel makes it 6 cards. So now the Katakuri really has to think about if they want this Deathwing to pop off. Because if this Deathwing pops off, they just grab a Kaya and the game's practically over at that point. So going to be curious to see how this goes. It looks like they're thinking about swinging with the Pudding. Didn't leave any Dawn in to swing with the whatchamacallit, the Linlin. And so going to be swinging 6 right here. It's going to be procced. It's going to be a Deathwink. I bet they pick up this Kaya. I bet they pick up the Kaya, and they do, and it looks like they're going to be able to win this game now, and they're going to be playing that Flampe, adding the card from their life and drawing a card as well. Going to be top decking a Buggy, another great card, and so with about 6 cards left, we're going to see a Kaya draw 2 and probably trash those same 2 cards. Or, well, Buggy and Dasbone. Sorry, guys. And so one more Kaya comes down. Going to go to either 1 or 2 cards left in deck. I don't know if it matters which ones. It's going to be 2 Love Mellows. And then playing over the Apis to hit the Kaya. They're going to draw the final card. And Nami is going to move out of the round of 32 and into the round of 16. Hey guys, it's me again. I just wanted to let you know in post-editing that I actually did some research after I made this call. It is not going to be the round of 16 the next video. They have like a Swiss kind of style in this for the top 32 essentially, or the 32 participants, and then they'll move on to, I believe it's a top 8 bracket. So Nami at least starting out 1-0 in this tournament. All right, back to the end of this video. Very, very exciting. Very, very cool match. I know that a lot of people, as Nami, struggle sometimes with Katakuri and yellow, but what really helped is we never saw a Lin at all from the Katakuri hit the field. The White Snake proving to be a very, very good card in the matchup, minusing basically a card, especially when they swing for the pesky old 5. So if you're taking notes on how to beat Nami in the future, be wary when they have 2 or more Dawn open and you want to swing a 5. It could be a little bit of trouble for you in the future. So very, very cool. That's exciting for me because I like Nami, and I hope you enjoyed this video as well. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you liked it, and we'll be doing the rest of this tournament as well. So stay on the channel, stay subscribed, turn that bell on for the rest of the way, doing some commentary. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you later.